Welcome to the news of Magic Bricks Now, India's first property business channel. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. Mumbai's Municipal Corporation BMC proposes a radical overhaul of Mumbai's vehicular usage in a bid to combat pollution. The civic body mulls a cut-off date for new car and bike registrations every year. Well, it's official now. The Maharashtra Chief Minister formally announced his plans to develop an international financial services centre in the Bandra Kurla complex. Magic Bricks Now brings you details of this Maha Dream project. In an innovative way to fund public infrastructure, the NHAI and the Gurgaon Municipal Corporation, along with other bodies, join hands with DLF and Ambience Group. The 50-50 JV will build an elevated bridge that will smoothen the transit to DLF and Ambience's Gurgaon projects. Well, Mumbai's urban managers, the BMC, have finally woken up to the poisonous smog that blankets the city, and they've decided to take some action. The BMC has proposed a radical plan which looks to reduce air pollution by limiting private vehicles on the road. Now, the plan proposes a cut-off date after which citizens will not be allowed to register new cars and bikes every year. Disha Shah, who tracks the BMC, brought us details of the plan.
BMC is working towards cracking down the poor air quality that the city Mumbai is facing for the past couple of weeks. It has drawn up a comprehensive mobility plan to cut down the pollution levels, which has been increased to alarming levels in Mumbai. For instance, it has drawn up a plan. In the proposal, it clearly states that no new registrations of cars or bikes will be allowed after a cut-off date. Secondly, all the registrations will be given approvals only after a buyer submits proof that he or she has a parking space allotted in his society or complex. With this, BMC aims to curb parking congestion. And lastly, entry of cars or bikes will be banned in some zones during certain hours, and the one who violates this will be fined accordingly with a huge sum. When I spoke to BMC officials earlier during the day, they said that they have submitted the proposal to the State Government and Environment Ministry in the month of January, in the last week of January this year, and they're expecting a green nod from both the parties by next week. And once after getting green nod from both the parties, these measures will be implemented on ground from first week of March this year.
Well, obviously, the first thing to consider about this plan is whether the BMC has provided the public transport that's necessary before they take private cars off the road. And that's a debate we're going to be looking at on the Urban Debate on Friday. But the BMC's plan has found its champions in transport experts who laud the civic body's focus on improving mass transit systems. Listen to what Ashok Dattar had to say.
This is very badly needed. It is feasible or not depends on whether we want to make it feasible. It is absolutely possible. But we can be sloppy, we can be careless, then it is not feasible. The people who have got increasing number of cars, they create a compounded increase in congestion, and that congestion also leads to localized emission. Because what happens when you drive with a stop-start mode, when there is a traffic jam, then your exhaust of your vehicle, it keeps on emitting a kind of a very high level of pollution 7 to 8 times. So pollution is absolutely a serious problem, but also there is a lot of traffic congestion. So everybody goes slow. So for what everybody thinks is good for me by buying a car and trying to go on the road. So I might be good, I may think I am good for myself, but together all people, we are together all bad. What we think individually is good, but it is not good really.
All right, the individual good might not be the collective good, but Mumbaikars, however, are not pleased with the plan at all. Aishwarya Paliwal spoke with some citizens earlier today. This is what they had to say.
I very frankly don't think it's a nice idea, only because the public transport in Bombay is really not good. If they want to introduce this plan, then they genuinely have to improve the public transport first. Because I travel by train and it's extremely difficult. I prefer traveling by a private transport than traveling by public transport.
I don't think this is a good way of monitoring pollution anyway. If they're planning to do this, then public transport should get much better. There should be more number of buses, trains should be more feasible to take in the mornings, in the peak hours, and stuff like that. So it should basically benefit the citizens. If it's not, then what's the point?
We required restrictions for the industries also. Restriction for the industries in the particular area. we required some area in the one particular session. This area is only for the industries, not for the any residential area and all that thing.
Well, the BMC's action comes after almost a month of public outcry against the rising pollution levels. The air quality index of the city has been at its poorest, averaging around 300 since mid-January. And as we speak, the AQI, the air quality index, reads 200. Now, the standard AQI is 100. My colleague Aishwarya Paliwal sent us this report about the quality of the air in the city earlier today.
Will you believe me if I tell you that Mumbai, the city where thousands come every day to make a living for themselves and which has some of the costliest houses in the country, cannot offer its citizens clean air to breathe? Well, it might sound untrue, but it is the fact. In the past 15 days, Mumbai's air quality index has become worse than that of Delhi. That means that the air that Mumbai citizens are breathing right now is extremely hazardous for them. Now, anything between 100 to 200 level on the AQI is considered safe for breathing. Anything above 200 is considered very dangerous. Mumbai currently is standing at 300 levels, which is extremely hazardous. Now, this was also due to the fire that took place at the Deonar garbage dump. Some of the citizens close by were thinking that they will get swift action from the authorities, but nothing has happened on the ground yet. This means that some of the hottest property markets in Bombay, like BKC, Chembur, Wadala, Andheri, are the worst affected areas. Clearly meaning that if you have paid a bomb to stay in Bombay, it's not guaranteeing a very good lifestyle.
And while Mumbai's air quality continues to deteriorate, Delhi's air quality seems to have improved. The Environment Pollution Control Authority, or the EPCA, told the Supreme Court that nighttime pollution in Delhi has in fact reduced. The EPCA also said that measures directed by the Supreme Court to reduce pollution in the Delhi NCR region have in fact worked and pollution levels have come down. Additionally, the EPCA in January has said that the odd-even rule has reduced peak pollution levels by about 40%. The odd-even scheme is set to make a comeback in April. Well, the International Finance Centre that's slated to come up in the Bandra Kurla complex took one more step towards reality today. A quick reminder for our viewers, India will have two international finance centres. One, of course, is Gift City in Ahmedabad. The second one is likely to come up in the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. The Maharashtra Chief Minister today announced that the state has set up a special task force and will soon have the construction layout in place. Ruchi Deshpande, who was in the Make in India event today, sent us this ground report.
It looks like Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis's dream of creating an international finance services center right here in Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai might slowly be catching steam. Now, in a press conference that he addressed on the last day of the Make in India week here in Mumbai, he announced that the two special task forces have been appointed by the government towards the creation of this center. The first one will look after the legal framework. Now, this committee will consist of UPS Madan, who is the MMRDA Commissioner, as well as Nitin Karir from the UD Ministry, and Swadhin Kshatriya, who is the Chief Secretary of Maharashtra. Furthermore, the Chief Minister also said that they are planning to appoint a foreign consultant in order to approve the layout plan for this International Financial Services Center. What he also said was that the full timeline of this project will be available in the coming months. Now, regarding this layout plan and the consultant, he said that the tenders for the layout of this projects were already approved, and once they get the approval of the MMRDA is when they will start inviting global bids for this.
Well, in an innovative move to speed up infrastructure projects, the National Highways Authority of India, the Municipal Corporation in Delhi and other public bodies have come together with developers of DLF and Ambience Group in a joint 50-50 venture. Our reporter Deepa Rana joins us with details of how that will help you and me as commuters in Delhi.
The National Highway Authority of India and developers like Ambience and DLF have come together to make the public infrastructure project. In fact, the two developers, Ambience Group and the DLF, have decided to contribute 50% of the construction cost as well. Now, the reason why the two bigwigs have decided to contribute to this 97 crore U-turn which is going to be built on the Delhi-Gurgaon border is because this U-turn is going to lead commuters to directly have access to the Ambience Mall and residential complex of both the Ambience and DLF group. In fact, once this 100 meters project comes up on the Delhi-Gurgaon border, it's going to lead commuters to have direct access to the Ambience and the DLF projects.
Thank you, Deepa. In fact, to give us more insight, we're joined right now by TL Satyaprakash. He's the Deputy Municipal Commissioner in Gurgaon. Thank you, Satyaprakash, for joining us on Magic Breaks now. Tell us, why have you chosen partners in DLF and Ambient Group, and what went into making this deal possible?
There is a Golf Road project where Huda and DLF are partners because this was contemplated when Rapid Metro is coming, there should be a partnership. So it's basically this particular U-turn and elevated U-turn will support that project, and that will become the extension. So it was at the insistence of the Chief Minister. This project was taken at the highest level, even in the central government, because all the people who are going there and they had to take a U-turn, particularly all these taxis, auto rickshaw, everything. So that's why it was insisted that this elevated U-turn should be there. And obviously this will also support the people who will go directly to Ambience Mall, and then the rest of the area, the next area is of the DLF. That's why NHI wanted to partner with DLF, and probably that must be the reason. This issue also got aggravated during this odd-even exercise of Delhi, because everybody who wanted to come to Ambience Island had to pass through a part of Delhi, only 5 to 6 meters stretch of Delhi. So it was there was a lot of resistance. That's why it was insisted that this should be taken up early and implemented.
Well, while this might seem innovative for Gurgaon, this is actually not true. This is not new. Sharing cost with developers is something that's been piloted across the country. Tell us why it's specifically in Gurgaon. This is path-breaking.
Public-private partnership is not a new trend. It's ever since 1990 these things are going on. But I think that it was a demand or a request from Ambience Mall since long, so that that they should be given a passage so that people can come and visit there. This one. That's why it seems the entire stimulus must have come from the private partner. Then NHI, obviously this is the property of the NHI. That is how all these people must have got into a discussion. So it was only the Chief Minister who insisted that they should be done by NHI. Further, how it exactly happened, it's not in my knowledge.
Are there any other projects in the pipeline that you're working on in Gurgaon that you can tell us about?
No, it was in this particular case. It makes sense when the beneficiaries wants to share the project cost. Because all these projects, particularly infrastructure projects, are taken up by NHI at the central government level. I am not aware of any such project which is in pipeline.
All right,
particularly in Gurgaon.
Many thanks for joining us on the show. Cash-strapped Air India finally succeeds in monetizing its iconic past headquarters in Mumbai, the Air India Towers on Marine Drive. The 23-storied sea-facing building was built in 1974 and was lying vacant after the airline moved its base out to Delhi in 2013. Now, ironically, the iconic Air India Towers, which now fetched 100 crore rupees, was spending 90 crore rupees a year just to upkeep that tower, which was lying vacant. Coming to the specifics of the building, 8 floors of the landmark building has been rented out now to the Income Tax Department. 4 floors have been leased out to the State Bank of India and 4 others to the Service Tax Department. The rest of the floors will be occupied by TCS, the Director General of Shipping, and Bharatiya Mahila Bank. Let's take a quick wrap also of what else has been buzzing in the property market. Motilal Oswal's real estate arm made its first complete exit from a project, and Suntech Realty signed a 1,500 crore rupee MOU with the Maharashtra government. Take a look.
Motilal Oswal Real Estate has completed the first exit from its India Realty Excellence Fund 3. The fund was launched in November 2015 with a target of raising 1,000 crore rupees. The first exit has raised 500 crore rupees within a span of just 3 months. The new fund is targeting a gross internal rate of return of 23 to 25% from its investments. Additionally, Motilal Oswal Real Estate has exited from Mahavir Developers in Bengaluru at an IRR of nearly 30%. The company has also invested 58 crore rupees with Kolte Patil developers in Pune and 56 crore rupees with Skylark Mansions in Bengaluru. Suntech Realty has signed a memorandum of understanding worth 1,500 crore rupees with the Maharashtra state government to set up a logistics park in Mihan. The company may take 108 crores of land in the Mihan complex. Piramal Fund Management has entered into a 390 crore rupees financing deal with Puravankara projects. The debt deal will provide construction finance for 7 projects of Puravankara. Puravankara was in talks with multiple financiers, and this deal will help the company refinance some of its existing line of credit. Bureau Report, Magic Bricks Now.
Well, as the union budget is going to be announced on the 29th of this month, we bring you the budget expectations of home buyers. Listen into what home buyers expect from the finance minister.
Rates have gone off the roof. It is just away from everyday, a middle class family of 2 or 3 or 4 cannot afford to buy a house now. Okay, so something of that sort, some area in some kind of effort in this direction would be naturally helpful.
We should have some proposed ways of finding a home for a person in every category. So a person who earns 20 lakh a year can afford a certain home. A person who earns only 10 lakh can dream of it but cannot afford. So people who are earning less have no scope of buying a home anymore. So they should be given some kind of facility where there is mid-budget homes and things like that, which are best in quality and good infrastructure but cost less.
Those are completely fair expectations from home buyers. Startups, on the other hand, offer record pay hikes in 2016. And it's not just employees who are all set to laugh their way to the bank. The steep hike in projection of 15.5% by Aon Hewitt Global Talent, Retirement and Health Solutions will have direct impact on the property market. Experts believe we're all set to see the cash registers ringing. All right, which markets are going to be impacted the most, and where will we see housing sprucing up? To give us all the answers to those questions, Ashwinder Raj Singh, CEO of Residential Services at GLL, joins us from New Delhi. Ashwinder, thank you for joining us on Magic Breaks Now. Well, first question, of course, will the record pay hike in the startup industry actually help the property market?
Overall, I think it is a good news, and there's a lot of investment coming in India in the startup space. India is now the number 3 country in the world in terms of startup action and the amount of funds flowing in India. So this was something that was expected, and startup is also about attracting the right kind of talent. So overall, I think this is going to have a good positive sentiment, because currently it is all about sentiment that is impacting the real estate space. It will give a positive boost. Overall employment will increase, remunerations will increase, and obviously the first thing that anyone in India, especially Indians, want to do is to invest in their own house. So the first time buyers will definitely get a boost and encouragement to invest in property.
Well, what cities do you think are going to benefit the most from this new boost and this new demand?
So the number 1 city that should get a positive impact is Bangalore, followed by Bombay and NCR, because Bangalore is right now the number 1 city in terms of startups, incubation, etc. And we see some of the major previous startups also headquartered in Bangalore. So Bangalore will benefit the most, and then it will be followed by NCR and Mumbai. Overall, the segment that will get impacted positively should remain the mid-size segment. The segment which is between 50 lakhs to 1 crore. That is the segment that people generally invest in if they are buying their first house, and the mid-size segment will get a good fillip across these 3 cities.
But actually, Ashwinder, the interesting question here would be, do you expect rentals to be impacted as well? Because before someone goes out and buys a home, they do rent out into the city that they're working in. Do you expect a change in the rental market as well?
See, to be honest, I see the first time user going ahead and buying a property it is possible that the overall rental demand increases, but I don't think it will increase too much, because today the neo generation is more interested in paying an EMI and owning a house rather than taking an apartment in rental, because with two, generally both husband and wife earning, it makes a lot of sense to go and buy an apartment. So the mid-sized range, which is, as I said, between 50 to 1 crore, which should get a better boost. Rentals, I do not think will really get majorly impacted by this. If there is some improvement, there might be, but I don't think it should be significant.
All right, Ashwinder, many thanks for joining us on the show and helping us crack into that new information we received about the startup industry and the impact it will have on the housing sector. Bangalore likely to benefit the most. Moving on, let's talk about interiors. Obviously, buying a home is important, but then there's also that whole point of doing up your space. Now, we normally focus on specific rooms, whether it's your kitchen or your bedroom or your living room. What about the passageways? Can they be more glamorous? Take a look.
Well, Priya, I have to say that you've made this passage into something more than just a passage.
So if you see, we've given this inlay in the marble, and it's a inspiration from Versace. And if you see, there's this Japanese screen, this is old painting. We sandwiched it between two glass pieces and made it look like a screen, like a partition. In a wooden frame, so I think that is looking beautiful. And if you see up, there's like a Tiffany looking light as well, so it's like this antique light which my client loved. And then we've given this gold wallpaper inside. The whole entrance foyer feels very pleasing and gives you like a royal look.
It does. It does appear to be really grand. I would like to know a little bit more about the Tiffany light. Is it something which is readily available?
Yeah, of course. She went and she picked it up from this place called Animos from Raghuvanshi Mills, and they have these kind of antique lights.
And this piece of antique chair, it's pretty similar to what we saw inside in the bedroom. I'm assuming this has been with them too for a long time?
Yes, it was always with her, so we didn't know how to use it. But with the size, dimension and the look, we thought it looked perfect. It fits into the space. And we gave it like a black matte Duco, and I think it went really well matching with my inlay.
It does. The whole setup here, I mean, if someone needs to come and wait, the wait becomes even more exciting and beautiful.
True, yeah.
Well, another element that you've actually created here is the storage cabinet, which does not appear to be a storage cabinet at all from the outside, because you've made it pretty interesting with the kind of texture and material you've used.
That's true, because we've actually used this wallpaper, which is a little grainy and has a little shimmer to it as well. And when you apply, it looks very nice, gives a neat finish. And then we created a niche in the middle to display, because when you're well traveled, you want to display a few of your pieces and items. And also one more part about this passage is we broke down the doors from 7 foot till like the ceiling height, so it gives like a bungalow feel. So if you notice, the doors are all up to the ceiling and it looks like beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the most important features.
So the breaking the doors has actually created a lot of space when it comes to the height and also obviously the length of the lobby.
It automatically lifts up your space, right?
And it gives you a lot of chances to play around also with the lobby. True. So you had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
All right, we've run out of time. If you have any feedback, remember, or suggestions, you can write to us. Our email IDs are on your screen right now. Send us feedback about the channel you're watching. It'll be our pleasure to hear from you. You can reach me personally on Twitter as well. Thanks so much for watching.